Good morning, folks. It's Tuesday. I'll turn this off. May the 9th. Nah, see, I said May. Getting ahead of myself. It's April. Cheers. Just woke up. About 8:48 in the morning. I'll tell you what, folks. I went to bed feeling really good. That feedback I got on my music really made my day. Actually got a sale out of it. Keep it coming, folks. I mean, I haven't looked at my comments yet today. I'm going to do that in a second to see. Because I have noticed that the trolling that I still deal with happens usually in the nighttime. When it's my bedtime, I wake up to a troll. That's how it usually goes. They don't bother me. They don't bother me like they used to. It's just it's sad that it happens. But folks, I want to tell you honestly that the reason why all these years I haven't talked more about my music is because I kind of assumed, maybe wrongly, that people would be turned off if all I do was talk about me and my music. I'm really glad that there was actual interest in my art and my process and how I do this, because I know that I do actually find myself much more interested and engaged in watching interviews and documentaries than watching fictional movies. So I'm glad that I love the feedback, I do. Let's see what's in the comments. Let's see if there's anything that I need to get rid of, because I'm not standing for any nonsense. Thank you. So one person here says, I'll say, M. Semino says, thanks for sharing the process. It's a great album. Thank you. I do see the connection between the muse and interlude. They both stand well on their own. Thank you. Because what I was trying to say yesterday is it is from a larger body of work. And that you can, there's a continuum, The muse is not my best. Some people are saying it's my magnum opus. I listened to it again last night. It's part of a continuum. And the focus of that one being that I got Blake involved, and the sound of the trumpet with the addition of Tubby's guitar. I can do the guitar parts. I actually do guitar on interlude. That's, I think, what I knew that would give it an extra something with the human connection, with the addition of other human musicians. I knew that would boost the muse in ways that I'm not able to really express, but it did. You hear it, you feel it. What else is in the comments? Great to see your working process like this. Very inspiring. Wow, thank you. Cheers, B. Bluger. Thanks. And this is from France, saying we all have also problem. I feel you. It's worldwide. It's a class war. It's not a war. I don't want to call it a war, but it's basically the status quo is going to hang on to what they got, and we mean nothing. Okay. Okay. Okay, so what else is happening? I did not bother with the eclipse yesterday. I've seen an eclipse. I forget, I was a child. What year was it? Here in Omaha, we saw a full eclipse. At least once before I saw it. I noticed a change in light, as it was happening, see, I didn't bother to try and go and get glasses. That's the thing, is like, I'm not going to be bothered with all this hysteria. That's what I call it, the way that people just glom onto things that are popular and everyone's doing it, I've seen an eclipse. So, okay, so a couple more comments as I'm letting my mind warm up. One of my favorite people to watch, and he doesn't make hardly any videos, is Michael P. Dawson. I like the way he speaks. He's very descriptive. And he put up a video yesterday where he found his finds are the kind of finds that I want here in Omaha, and they're rare. It's hard to find stuff like that. Peter Fromater, I've got one of his CDs, but I've never seen an album. And John Stevens, Spontaneous Music Ensemble, nice. I also thought I'd chime in, weigh in with my response to the question from, is it Mazzy? I haven't watched Mazzy in a while. Every once in a while, I do. He asked Michael if he thought if prog was pretentious. Well, the answer is yes. Prog is very pretentious. And so what? So what? Yes, some prog is, some of it is, some of the really pretentious prog I can't stand. But there's some amazing music within that so-called genre. So that's my response. When I'm listening to prog, when I'm listening to what I'm listening to, I'm not listening to what somebody else is saying. I don't give a fuck about somebody else's opinion. When I'm in here in my house playing my records, I don't give a shit if somebody thinks it's this or that. They're not listening to it with me. So yeah, prog can be very pretentious. So the fuck what? That's my position. Okay. Let me endeavor to show a few more of these, because I did buy records for $2 at the record show that ultimately are kind of junk. They're not like things that I really want, but it was an opportunity to discover them. When I worked in record stores, I didn't like working because I was like a dog in a meat house. It's like, what is this? Let's hear this. Let's hear this. And I enjoy that as well as making music. So that's a big part of the appeal. I put some stuff away already, so I have to kind of look and see here. Okay. So again, if you follow me on Facebook, you've seen where I've shown some of these. So let me start with this one, because I bought 2 albums by this band because I knew that I didn't particularly like this band, but it still has always intrigued me over the years. The band Trapeze, Medusa, on the Moody Blues label Threshold. Now that was what was always getting me, is like, why did these guys get signed by the Moody Blues label? It just seemed incongruous, because I like the cover. I like good covers. And that's a decent cover. But it don't sound nothing like this record. Nothing. And Glenn Hughes, who ended up in Deep Purple and some other stuff, he's the singer here. You know what? The other thing, and I'm just going to just rip, and I'm just saying what I'm thinking. As I was listening to several of these records that I bought for $2, I'm hearing all the bluesy rock blues stuff in it. It just again brought to the surface one of the things I've always thought I've been thinking for the longest time about racism and the nuttiness of the world. When I was growing up and I discovered music beyond the blues, which is what excites me. As I always thought, how ironic that the most hated people on the planet are also the most loved. Because back in the day, everybody was trying to get that black sound. This is a good example. Not getting the black sound, but the soul. Glenn Hughes got a soul sound. He's trying to sound black. Especially at the time, that's what this was all about. That's why the Animals broke through. Eric Burden. I got another old album, Chris Farlowe. Yeah, where that's what they talk about, The authentic, white men can sing the blues. Chris Farlowe was an early example. How bizarre. And we're back in the middle of this bullshit now with country music and Beyonce. The madness and insanity of racism, I'll always speak out about it. So anyway, I bought 2 of their albums for $2 a piece because it says finally I can sit down and really digest what's going on here. I don't get it. It must have been a personal connection because the music doesn't match the cover at all. It's a hard rocking band, but I don't like it. I bought their other album. They have 3 or 4 albums. One other album has another real cool cover, which it doesn't fit the music. But this one I remember from the radio. Or someone I know, or somehow I became familiar with this title track. You Are the Music, We're Just the Band. They must have gotten some FM radio play with this. That I kind of, it's a good song. But once again, it's this hard rocking sort of bluesy thing with the gritty vocals, Boy, doesn't he sing with a lot of soul? He could almost be black, couldn't he? We don't like them black people. Isn't that weird? That's why I talk about it, folks. I ain't crazy. Racism is ridiculous. So again, I've never shown it, I don't think, but I have an early Chris Farlowe album that I got as a cutout as a teen, and I still have it. It's one of the oldest records in my collection. I always liked the music. Peter Robinson on keyboards. I never liked Chris Farlowe's voice. Sounds like he needs to gargle. So this is like, I just grabbed it for $2, and I've already played it. It's like, I'm not interested in this. This is them doing all those like standards. Rock Me Baby, they call it. Stormy Monday, Reelin' and Rockin'. But, Albert Lee's on here. Carl Palmer from ELP was his drummer for a while. And then Dave Greenslade from Coliseum and Greenslade Band were in his message. These were their roots. That's why I got those. Here's one where I was able to see now, again, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I like. The blues is all through me. And it always has been, but I get bored with it. But one of the records I've had for a long time that I really like is Johnny Winter, Second Winter. His Johnny Winter and Live was an early record that I burned out on as a teen. But this I was able to get, I put it away. I was able to upgrade for $2. A replacement copy. My copy, which I've had for decades, is beat to shit. Never saw Johnny or Edgar Winter, but again, in a very strange way, mentally, I related to them because of their albinism. Outcasts. I relate to that. Here's another one where I bought it as a cutout a long time ago, then I got rid of it because I never got into it because I wasn't psych. But now I can dig it. Chelsea Beige is the name of the band. Mama, Mama, Let Your Sweet Bird Sing. Mixed ethnicity band. And it comes through in the music. I appreciate it more now. Now here's what's funny. When horn bands became the thing, when Chicago was super huge and everybody was trying to be a horn band, like Ball and Jack and Blood, Sweat and Tears and all those bands, Chase, that's the era of this. This is a soul horn band, and there are several good songs on here. Now there's several songs on here where it's like the R&B-ness of it is like, I'm not digging that too much. But this is a good album. Good songs. Good arrangements. Back in the day when the major labels, this is Epic Records. Epic Records was a subsidiary of Columbia CBS. Okay, all owned by the same company. And this is back when they were just signing everything. You know, they had the money. This is back when the record industry was in its heyday. And so people could get signed and try things. And this is one, it's a good one. What else here? I showed that. Okay. Here's one again where I knew what I was getting, and it was just for the sake of being able to hear it. The Pigeons. This is the Vanilla Fudge before they were the Vanilla Fudge. I remember seeing this album all the time and just wanting to hear it. I know that it's just, well, it's the white soul thing. Folks, I know what I'm talking about when I bring up the insanity of racism. It needs to stop. So this is these guys, I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour, and Good Lovin' and Mustang Sally, you know. And basically what they're doing is they're showing you that they got chops, that they can play, you know, that they can whip up a storm. And that's what the Vanilla Fudge were known for. The Vanilla Fudge were one of the most influential bands in rock music that we never hear about. They influenced everyone from Led Zeppelin through. And if you talk to the actual musicians themselves, they will tell you. Or if you were to research like I have done all my life, you would see where people have said time and time again. Even John Bonham's drum style was influenced by Carmen Appice, whichever one. One more. And then I'll show you a standout that I found in the $2. This I got because I like Quicksilver. I'd never owned this one. Their early albums are the ones I really like. The John Cipollina records. John Cipollina is not on this album. This is the Dino Valente version. Okay. So it's going to be hit and miss coming through. Dino Valente was a character, good songwriter. So I haven't dug into this deep, but I know there's going to be a good song on here. But let me show. This was a real find. Okay, it was a discovery. This is the sort of thing that I like. Digging through crates for and having access to records I have never heard of before cheaply is because of the process of discovery, which is fun. And here's one. Matrix. I ain't never heard nobody talk about this album on Rare Earth. Matrix. I haven't heard a peep about this record from anyone ever. Rare Earth Records. I'll tell you, they probably didn't sell shit because this, when I bought it at Dan Norman's table, it was still sealed. Since what, frickin' 1972? Yeah. Still sealed. And on top of that, it was a still sealed, but marked DJ. They couldn't sell this record. They probably never got past the DJ copies. See, right there on the label, DJ copy, not for sale. This is wonderful. Now, this is unlike Power of Zeus. Now, Power of Zeus is very collectible on the Rare Earth label. I like this inside. You know, it's amazing that pretty things got put out by this. But here's the deal about this. Many bands did this back in the day. It reminds me of why when I was a kid buying cutouts, if I found one song on an album that I liked, it was good enough to keep. Because that was really kind of a standard thing going on with a lot of bands. It's like, well, we play this, but we'll play all of this to see what sticks to the wall. This is like a variety hour. And it turns out that one of these guys was, don't let me misspeak, but I think that one of the deals is that one of these guys in this band was a house keyboardist at Motown, a session player. And so he has hundreds, if not thousands of hours of experience that shows in this music. This is not rock and roll, and it's not psychedelic. It's real across the board. They were looking to hit something with this. They cover Fire and Rain by James Taylor, do a decent job of it. But the album is like a variety show. There's even a commercial break on side 1, and on side 2, there's some spoken word stuff. Like, it's weird. And then the range of songwriting styles is wide on this. And it's not just bluesy, it's pretty pop oriented. But I'm so glad that I played the whole thing, because the last song on the album it's what I'm looking for. It's a song called 10 Miles Beyond. It's prog. It's good prog. That's the sort of thing I'm looking for. And the other thing that blew my mind, because the song is so good, it's very orchestral. I wish I could play it for you. It's very good. It was like, this is what I look for. And then I look and see that there's a co-write on the song, the only co-write on the album, with Berry Gordy. I'm saying, wow, it's really good. It's the sort of thing I'm looking for, because there's all kinds of records with gems like this. It's like, it's the last song on the album. Who besides me ever listened to this album all the way through? I'm so glad I did. Score Matrix. This is the thing that makes digging for records fun. I got a lot of other stuff that does not hit. That doesn't even come close to that. Like, for example, I picked this up because I remember ever seeing it. I like the Welsh band Man. They're an example of a Welsh band that's somewhere on the line between just rock and roll and jam band, like the Grateful Dead. They're very good. This is a live album, and this is not what I like about Man. This sucks. Come on, baby, let the good times roll. Oh, please. But it goes in the collection. It's $2. I had never seen before. I got 10 albums by Man, and it goes right there. And this, for fun, it was like, heck, yes. Old Grey Whistle Test. I'm over here in the U.S., but I've probably seen all of these through the magic of the internet. BBC Old Grey Whistle Test. I remember reading about it back in the day in NME and stuff, you know. And so when I finally was able to see it, you know, I could see why that show and a couple other shows were so influential. And I find out that they're the theme that they always hear, that you'd always hear, that harmonica, area code 615. I've been more than once. I've been tempted to buy their albums, but I knew that it was more country and blues, and so I passed. You know, and I'm glad, because this is just fun. Because of and the thing that got me to get it was Pretty Things on, obviously. But there's a Queen song on here. I understand why Queen is so loved and valued by people. I do. Bohemian Rhapsody as a songwriting, as a song, is a tour de force. That is a beautiful piece of music, but it's overheard. I don't need it in my house. But as someone asked me a while back, do I recognize quality even though I don't like the style? I sure do. I sure do recognize quality. Bohemian Rhapsody is amazing work. It is. I got another one for this. I don't play them, but it's like, it's a collector's item for me. I have most of these. Didn't have this one, Environments, disc number 10. Here's one where I took a chance. I knew that, and I'll explain why. Jubal. It's on the Elektra label. Now, Elektra, Jack Holtzman, who started the label, primarily folk, but when he moved into jazz and rock, took chances, and he had good A&R people. So my thought was, I have an early Bread album, On the Water, the band that had the big hits, Make It With You and Guitar Man. Beautiful songs. I love Bread. So to me, that was an idea of maybe this will be a band like that where they have some really good songs. Jubal. This is a stinker. The lyrics on here are totally cringeworthy. These guys can play. It's kind of somewhere between almost country and pop. And I knew that this would be a long shot, but the idea that there could be good songs in here. The lyrics just, oh God. One more, okay, because it's like, The Illusion. Who remembers this? They had the big hit, Did You See Her Eyes? I like that on the radio. I have a copy of the single. Well, here you come now. Again, that gritty soul voice that, the white boys were trying to have. I've always passed on this in the past because of knowing it's mainly a hit-driven album. But for $2, I said, sure, let me get it finally. They made 3 albums, so, it's like somebody thought they had something. Now that I have the album, I listen to all on one side. I said, oh, these guys were good. They could play. It's like, there's the variety on here where they're showing their chops. This is nothing great, but it's like, oh, I see why they kept trying. This band was actually very good. And one more. I keep saying one more. I could go for it all day, couldn't I? I bought this. I kind of remembered that I knew that this was not what I'm looking for, but for $2, I can finally go ahead and drop the needle. It's on the Westbound label, the label that Parliament Funkadelic was on, the label that screwed George Clinton out of a lot of royalties in publishing because George Clinton, like a lot of people back in the day, did not quite understand publishing. CJ and Company, Devil's Gun. I was hoping maybe this would be some obscure funk. This is disco. And it's terrible. Do they play well? Yeah. But is it tasteless? Very tasteless. Yuck. So that's what I got for you today, folks. I will share more about my music process. I'm glad that you're interested. Now, do me a favor. I got a sale out of that yesterday. On a realistic level, that's what I need. I need the sales. Let me get these thoughts out as I think them so I don't forget them. I'm really glad to get the feedback about the Muse. I need you folks to understand that the Muse 2 will not be made for... The Muse 2 will be completed the way the Muse was completed. For me, number one. The person that has to like this music to be satisfied is me. Okay, I can't make records thinking about an audience. Will they like this? Will they like this? I always hope that people like it. That's why I have been quiet about my music, mostly because I'm thinking people don't want to hear me talk about me. I'm glad that you do. But this isn't the first time I've gotten positive feedback. I've gotten a lot of feedback all the time. But getting that strip of comments was like, wow, this is very nice. But so some people were asking me if Cubby and Blake will be on Muse number 2. I already have a couple of tracks with Blake on, but I haven't been having the toughest time getting him back over here. I don't know what happened. Cubby moved to New York, and the way that I make this music, it can't happen remotely. He needs to be here because I basically direct him and Blake as to what to play and what not, okay, so let me share a little bit more. This will be a long one. So when you're doing takes, generally speaking, when someone's doing a take, you just let it go till the track is done. But since I'm directing traffic and I know what I want, there's many times when we would be recording and they do something and I'd say, stop, let's just go start again. That ain't happening. Just stop. Okay. I have heard where no, I don't think it's Michael Jackson. some other folks would do that. It's like it'd be very unusual. They just stop, stop. Let's start again. Instead of, well, you should have let it go because maybe we could, if that first part wasn't any good, but maybe you'd gotten the second part and we could Frankenstein them together. This happens all the time. But it's great when you get a full take all the way through. But anyway, what I'm saying is, Cubby, being in New York, I don't want him flying in the guitar. He needs to be sitting here in the room so I can parse, say, oh, that works, that doesn't work, because that's literally, his guitar parts. He kind of taught me my own something about my own music, And that's working, that's not working, you don't do that, do more of that, So the flying tracks back and forth through the internet, that's not how I like to operate. We need to be here present. So anyway, let me stop. It's a half an hour. Folks, as always, stay in touch. Let me know what your thoughts are. I love the feedback. I do.